I was able to stack up 11,040 points for search lockers during a day raid on Damn Battlegrounds. For my equipment, I brought in an anvil with 2 stacks of ammo, 15 seeker grenades, a power rod, 6 zip lines, a raider hatch key, snap hook, 8 stacks of adrenaline shots, the Damn surveillance key, the Damn staff room key, the Damn testing annex key, and the Damn controlled access zone key. All of these keys, with the exception of the controlled access zone key, will give you access to more lockers. Now this video is going to be somewhat short and to the point because let's face it, we're opening lockers here and it's not that complicated to explain what you got to do. So I'm not going to spend a ton of time explaining that, but essentially you're just opening the lockers, and there's a bunch of different types of lockers that count, but the focus for me in this run was the traditional standing lockers. I got one of the best spawns I could have asked for, being right outside one of the largest places that lockers exist on this map, and that is by the good old Baron's Hatch, which is just to the northwest of the water towers and just to the south of the South Swamp outpost area. There is a ton of lockers that can spawn in here. From here, I moved up to the electrical substation, which had a small amount of lockers inside. From here, I rotated over to water treatment control, which has a bunch of lockers that you can loot without a key. But then additionally, there is this security room inside that is a locked door. Inside of it, you can find just a few more lockers. From here, I rotated out towards research and administration and hit a small building just to the south of it that has a few lockers inside. From here, going inside the bottom floor of research and administration, using the Damn staff room key to open up a room with a bunch of lockers inside. Now, if you have the control tower key, you can also use that to access a few more lockers, but I didn't have that key, so I was unable to get those during this run. Once I finished up with the lockers inside the staff room, I went to the second floor, and there's a handful of lockers that you can find scattered around on that second floor. You'll find a couple sets in the hallway, as well as a couple of sets inside a couple of bathrooms located in one of the back corners of this area. From here, I rotated down towards the testing annex, which has a bunch of lockers that you can loot. There is a small building just outside of the testing annex that has a couple of lockers inside. And then inside the testing annex, there is an important thing to be aware of here. Now here I use my Damn testing annex key, and I honestly didn't know before this that there was only one room that had lockers in it, and I just happened to open the right one. So you want to make sure that you open the smaller one, and you can actually look through the windows before you actually use your key to confirm whether or not there's lockers inside. So just make sure that you're looking for the set of lockers before you use that key and lose it. From here, you can rotate up to the first and second floors. There's going to be lockers on each. I went straight to the second floor first because it was just easier from where I was, and then out to the first floor before I left the building. Now, wrapping around to the front of the testing annex, right next to the extraction point, is another building that has a set of lockers that you can loot inside of it. From here, I ran all the way back up towards the control tower and then used the zip line to get myself onto the actual dam itself. Using the levers to drop the drawbridge, it allowed me to cross across and then breach and search the rooms that then gave me access to another set of lockers. From here, I rotated over to the controlled access zone, dropped down inside, and found this set of lockers just behind the lobby inside of it. Now from here, I rotated out towards the power generation complex and then down just below it. There is a room that requires a power rod to open, and inside of it you can find 3 sets of lockers to search for this challenge. From here, I ran outside and then back up and around near a supply depot where there was another small building and another set of lockers for me to loot. Now from here, I rotated down to the hydro domes, and inside 2 of the domes, you're going to find a couple of sets of lockers that you can search for this challenge. You will find both of these in the 2 largest dome structures, so just don't worry about going into the small ones, it's only in the bigger ones. And then from here, heading towards the Ben Welder sunroof is the last set of lockers and the Raider hatch to escape. This is a super easy challenge. It's just really about knowing where to go to find the lockers. Once you've stacked up enough points and you're ready to go, head back to Speranza, collect any loot if you haven't already, and watch your score fly up the leaderboard. That's going to be it for me today, y'all. Thanks for watching. Now, I know I'm going to get some comments that said, why on earth did you do this during a day raid? You should do it during a night raid because, quote unquote, you will have more containers to search. Well, I put that theory to the test, whether or not you really do get more containers during a night raid versus a day raid. And guess what? You really don't. In fact, it's very close to being even across all of my games. I did 4 night raids and 4 day raids on Ribbontides. I only searched 2 different sets of lockers by the tennis courts and across 8 different matches, I found that in most cases, you got 10 lockers between the two. Sometimes you would get 12, and very infrequently you would get 9. There was arguably no difference between a day raid and a night raid in terms of the containers that were there to search, but the quality of the items and the value of the items that I was finding during the night raid was definitely better. So the only perceivable difference is it seems to be a better value for a night raid, but if you're just trying to do the trial and you don't care about the loot that you're getting, you can do it during a day raid just fine.